As always, I got a nice official introduction for our speaker. This is not a drill. It's really happening. You can feel your stomach churning by the second. Oh no, what should I do? Aakeem will discuss how each of us can escape this catastrophe. This is a 6 to 8 minute speech from level 3 of the Motivational Strategies path, effective body language. Please join me in welcoming Aakeem Bennett with his speech entitled How to Avoid Diarrhea of the Mouth. Aakeem.
Diarrhea is just not fun. We've all been there, we've all dealt with it. It's a terrible ordeal. Think of diarrhea from the mouth. Someone comes, asks you a question, and all of a sudden, it's all over your shirt. The words are just fumbling out of your mouth. Every incomplete thought, every filter word you can think of, everything is just overrunning. You might even think that you're a politician, the way that you're just spouting on about some foolishness that no one even asked you about. But it's okay. We're going to talk today about 3 simple ways, 3 simple steps that you can take to avoid diarrhea of the mouth. Step 1, take your Pepto and pop it in your mouth. Everyone, do it with me right now. I want you to grab your mental Pepto, pop it in your mouth. You hear that? You don't hear anything, right? Exactly. Pause and gather your thoughts. That is step 1. Pop that virtual Pepto into your mouth right before you get ready to answer so that your brain can catch up with what your mouth is about to do. I know it sounds crazy, right? Someone asks you, now, Krista, can you please explain to us your stance on the pay raises for teachers? And you're just standing there not saying anything? That's perfectly fine. As we'd heard about earlier, purposeful pausing is a great thing when it comes to responding to folks. Gives you time to settle your thoughts, to settle your mental stomach before you start responding. So step 1, pop that Pepto right in your mouth and wait. Step 2, identify what the actual question is that you're responding to. This can be a little bit tricky because now you need to pay attention to who's asking it and why are they asking it. If my wife was to come up to me and say, babe, what's the temperature like outside? And I go to tell her, well, according to Google, there's a 30% chance that it's going to snow tomorrow, but the wind is going to be up very, very high, so maybe the storm clouds will leave. And we live in Florida. And she looks at me like, what are you talking about? Oh, well, you asked the weather outside. I pulled up and that's the weather report for Chicago tomorrow. Did I answer her question? Was she asking me about the weather in Chicago? Absolutely not. And being that we live in Florida and being that I married the woman I married, she would probably hit me upside the head and chastise me saying, don't tell me about where your girlfriend lives. Tell me about where you live. Don't be like me. Don't sit there and try to give an answer that no one's asking for. You just took time to gather yourself, to gather your thoughts. So the next step is to really figure out what is it I'm supposed to be answering. Some questions are a little bit heavier. They might require a little bit more explanation. But typically, if someone's asking you to speak or they're asking you a question, what are they truly trying to do? They're trying to get your response. Not your response to everything, but your response to this particular thing. Step 2, figure out what it is that you're trying to answer. Step 3, get to the darn point. You walk into a buffet. You've heard all the reviews on Yelp. Google says it has 4.8 stars. Somebody on Facebook said, oh my gosh, you guys have to go check this out. You walk into the restaurant. The first thing you do when you look at that buffet, you survey it. Okay, all right. That's going to be my first plate. No, that one's going on the second plate. Got to make sure I get some veggies on the first plate. Oh, I can't wait to go try that out. Then as you're surveying the bar, you notice that the fried chicken, the sushi, and asparagus are all under the same heat lamp. Now, let me tell you a little secret. If you know anything about sushi, in fact, or anyone out there like sushi? Anyone? Anyone like that? Yeah. If you like sushi, the one thing you do know is that it should not be under a heat lamp. That's a no-no. But you saw that heat lamp and you said, you know what? I'm going to try it. Halfway through the meal, your chest tightens up a little bit. You start sweating profusely. And then you start to realize, I am in a situation. What is a situation? No, not Merriam-Webster's situation. This is Aakeem's situation. A situation is when you're into some type of event that you definitely do not want to be in. And out at a buffet and your stomach starts rumbling, you don't want to be there. Trust me on that. So you have to get to the nearest restroom. Are you going to drive 40 minutes to the house? No, you're going to go to the quickest, cleanest bathroom that you can find. It's the same thing when avoiding diarrhea of the mouth. How quickly can I get to the point? How quickly can I answer what is being asked of me? Let's put all these together. We said we want to pop a Pepto into our mouth so that we pause. We want to identify what exactly it is that we're trying to answer. And then we want to get to the point. Very simple question. It's an open house. We get this all the time. What is Toastmasters? I'm glad you asked. Toastmasters is this global organization. I sometimes give speeches. I sometimes lead in different meeting roles. And then we actually have a person that's checking for all of your filler words. That way you can avoid using all that useless nonsense. But then there's also table topics. And I also tell you that in our club, we have like 7 or 8 different writers. It's crazy. And there's this one lady who speaks another language. They weren't asking all of that. Why are you telling them all of that? That's too much information. How would you answer it to avoid diarrhea of the mouth, to keep that shirt clean? What is Toastmasters? Toastmasters is an organization where I practice public speaking and leadership skills, and I get to meet a few cool people on the way. You want to come check it out someday? There you go. That's how you avoid diarrhea of the mouth. Friends, we're all going to be hit at some point or another with diarrhea. It's going to happen. But if you just take the time to pop that Pepto, figure out what's being asked of you, and then get to the point, you will become a more concise, a more effective, and a more natural speaker. And you'll also keep your shirt clean. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Aakeem, for a very interesting speech. Now, the purpose of this project is to deliver a speech with awareness of your intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice, and refine how you use nonverbal communication when delivering a speech. So those are the things that I'm going to be talking about. What I saw visually was a beautiful blue background, white shirt, tie, and you looked really professional. Eye contact was excellent. Now, your hand motions were both positive and negative. And what I found out was that we need to, in the Zoom environment, not move our hands, make it a definite, because this gets lost where a definite motion is very connected with what you're doing. So I would suggest that you would consider, when you look back at the recording, the hand motions. I love the way you presented your topic with the pause, gather your thoughts, your humor about your girlfriend. I would suggest that in today's world that you not ever use violence. Maybe the example would have been that something like you would expect your wife to reward you by not providing dinner or something, because in today's world, there is so much violence. And then figure out what you're supposed to answer was the second point. Pause and gather your thoughts. Figure out what you're supposed to answer. It took a little while to get to the second point. The first point was a little long. Then the third was get to the point. And I love the way you summed up how we should answer people. Public speaking, leadership skills. Would you like to join me one day and check this out? Concise and clear, because I think so often in this world, I do especially, is I go on and on, when clear, concise would be much, much better. I really enjoyed your speech and I learned a lot from it. I loved the humor and I loved how I knew that you had put great thought into what it was that you were telling us. It was an excellent example of a fabulous Toastmaster speech. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for that wonderful evaluation. Marty always gives us such great evaluations, lots to think about, and always with a smile, of course.